U.S. sanctions Iran-backed militia members in Iraq conducting strikes against American forces. UN stops delivery of food and supplies to Gaza as communications blackout hinders aid coordination. Bring them home. As the battle for Gaza rages, hostage families wait with trepidation. Today is Saturday, November 18th, 2023, and this is the Dunkley Report. The U.S. has imposed sanctions on 6 people affiliated with the Iranian-backed Iraqi militia Kataib Hezbollah, which is accused of being behind a spate of recent attacks against U.S. forces in Iraq and Syria following the Oq. 7 attacks by Hamas against Israel. Included in Friday's sanctions are the militia's foreign affairs chief, a member of its governing council, its military commander, and a media spokesman. A spate of drone attacks hit U.S. bases in Iraq as recently as Friday. As of Friday, there had been at least 60 attacks on U.S. facilities in Iraq and Syria since October 17. The United Nations was forced to stop deliveries of food and other necessities to Gaza and warned of the growing possibility of widespread starvation after internet and telephone services collapsed in the besieged enclave because of a lack of fuel. Israel announced Friday that it will allow a very minimal amount of fuel into the besieged territory daily. But the shipments appeared to be far less than what the UN has said is needed. Phone and internet services were partially restored Friday night after some fuel was delivered. Blackouts largely cut off Gaza's 2.3 million people from one another and the outside world, and paralyzed the coordination of aid. Abby Ahn lost her aunt and a young cousin when Hamas attackers rampaged through Kibbutz Nir Oz on October 7. Now, Ahn is worried about what will happen to 3 other family members taken hostage that day as Israel pounds Gaza City in a bid to end Hamas's control of the Gaza Strip. She wants the world to remember that Ofer Calderon and his children, 16-year-old Sahar and 12-year-old Erez, are caught in the crossfire. As the Israeli military tightens its grip around Gaza City, friends and family of the roughly 240 hostages held by Hamas fear their loved ones will be an afterthought for the politicians and generals directing the campaign. Emily Tony Korenberg Hand celebrated her 8th birthday last year, romping with friends and family at her circus-themed party on Kibbutz Be'eri. On Friday, when she turned 9, there was no party. Emily is believed to be somewhere in Gaza among the hostages taken by Hamas, militants who swarmed her kibbutz Okt. 7. Her father, Thomas Hand, wondered in a recent interview if she would even know it was her birthday. Soon after Hamas attacked, Hand was told Emily was among the dead. On Okt. 31. The Israeli military informed him no body or DNA was found, and she's likely among the estimated 240 people taken when Hamas attacked Israel. Death, Thomas Hand says, would be the easier option for his child. One of Haiti's most vulnerable and impoverished communities is recovering from a gang attack that targeted a hospital serving as a lifeline for many. The latest attack in the capital of Port-au-Prince was a show of defiant force and violence that continues to overwhelm a crumbling government that requested the immediate deployment of an international armed force more than a year ago and has yet to arrive. But the attack that forced the evacuation of an entire hospital under gunfire also was a rare triumph for police who rescued dozens and work for a department that is understaffed, under-resourced, and outmatched by gangs. Ukraine's Marine Corps says it has secured multiple bridgeheads on the eastern bank of the Dnieper River in the Kherson region. In fighting, it described as having caused thousands of Russian casualties and destroyed dozens of ammunition warehouses, armored vehicles, and other weaponry. The Marine Infantry Command's claims on Friday are the first to come directly from the Ukrainian military about advances across one of Russia's most significant strategic barriers. The Marines said troops killed or wounded nearly 3,500 Russian soldiers, destroyed dozens of armored vehicles, guns, 29 ammunition warehouses, and 4 headquarters. The claims couldn't be independently verified, and didn't mention the number of Ukrainian casualties. More than 2,400 Ukrainian children aged 6 to 17 have been taken to Belarus from 4 regions of Ukraine that are partially occupied by Russian forces, a study by Yale University has found. The study, released Thursday by the Humanitarian Research Lab of the Yale School of Public Health, which receives funding from the U.S. State Department, found that Russia's systematic effort to identify, collect, transport, and re-educate Ukraine's children has been facilitated by Belarus. Ukrainian authorities have said that they're investigating the deportations as possible genocide. Rescuers drilled deeper into the rubble of a collapsed road tunnel in northern India to fix wide pipes for 40 workers trapped underground for a 6th day to crawl to their freedom. A disaster management official said Friday that drilling with a new machine has covered a stretch of 78 feet so far, and it may require up to 195 feet to enable the trapped workers' escape. The first machine used was slow in pushing pipes through the debris. Nuts roasted chickpeas, popcorn, and medicine are being sent to the workers via a pipe, and their condition hasn't deteriorated. The workers have been trapped since Sunday, when a landslide caused part of the tunnel to collapse. The Russian Justice Ministry says it has filed a lawsuit with the country's Supreme Court to outlaw the LGBTQ international public movement as extremist. The court is scheduled to consider the lawsuit on November 30, the ministry said. It wasn't immediately clear what exactly the move entailed. It comes as Russia takes an increasingly conservative turn under President Vladimir Putin, who has forged a powerful alliance with the Russian Orthodox Church and has put traditional family values at the cornerstone of his rule. About 1.3 million Afghans are expected to return to their country of origin from Pakistan, the UN Health Agency warned, weeks after authorities began expelling foreigners living in the country illegally. The warning by the World Health Organization comes as expulsions gather pace, despite the onset of cold weather and widespread criticism from international and domestic human rights groups. Since November 1, police in Pakistan have been going door to door to check migrants' documentation after a deadline for migrants without papers to leave or face arrest. Many Afghans say they should be given more time to leave as they don't have homies in their country of origin. Today's news was reported by the Associated Press. This has been the international news for Saturday, November 18th, 2023. Thanks again for joining us here at the Dunkley Report.